things must come to an end, as this win streak did for men's basketball. Thank you for tuning into the House Hardcourt. Zach Keenan. With me is Jackson Zuber.
Yeah, it was tough this week to see that win streak come to an end. It's been so much fun watching them win all these games, especially in those gold-hardened jerseys, which we may not see for a little bit.
But on the other side of the program, women's basketball starts off the Pac-12 tournament against Cal. This afternoon, they tip off at just after noon. On the other side of the program, though, men's basketball. Our own Mason Kern was there to talk to the players and coaches and hear about this weekend's 2 losses in a row to UCLA, then USC.
Coach Hurley, he know that we worked hard. And it's not about the outcome. It's about like what you do to get to that point. And he felt like we played hard in both of those games, and it was a well-fought battle versus UCLA. It came down to the wire at home. They hit a tough game-winning shot, and it happens. So we were sad at the moment and things like that, and we moved on. And that's the biggest thing about us now. Even when we won, we moved on, and that's what we're doing now. We lost. We seen the mistakes that we made. Now we're moving on. When you have something and you're doing so good at it, you want to protect it. You don't want to just lose it. Like we were playing well. We wanted to protect that. We wanted to keep playing well, but we didn't. So and that's what I want to do now. I'm the leading scorer in the country coming off the bench at one point. I want to try to protect that as much as possible.
It was just after last year's loss to Washington State that Bobby Hurley called out the students for not showing up in the team's loss following a landmark win over Washington. This year, a similar concern came up in a nearly identical situation when number 14 Oregon, followed by the Oregon State Beavers, came to town. The Sun Devils attempted a call to action to break the student section record and came close, attracting just under 13,000 fans to Desert Financial Arena for the first game. That Saturday against Oregon State, the team was still able to pull off a win despite attendance slipping below 10,000. A novel concept, right? I've noted in the past how this team is subject to its surroundings. This team is rarely in front of a home-packed crowd. The inverse was true last year, though, following the trap loss to Washington State. The Sun Devils may have conquered their fears, although this year, road games have been the Achilles heel. While 12-2 at home, the Sun Devils will finish the season barely above 500 on the road, sitting at a record of 6-5. Neutral sites 1-3. The bad news for this team is that the Pac-12 tournament is played in Las Vegas, not Desert Financial Arena. The Sun Devils may have just caught a speeding train in UCLA, but a 10-point road loss to USC showed off just how this team can struggle away from Tempe. The 75-47 early season loss to Arizona still haunts this team and tells the story of a team that tends to come up gasping for air when on the road. If there's a bright side to this story, it's that every other team is playing on the road too. Oregon will finish their regular season 5-5 on the road. With one matchup to go, UCLA sits at 5-4 on the road. Even the 19-10 Arizona Wildcats will finish their year at 4-6 away from Tucson. Before we jump to conclusions, though, Rob Werner has the analysis before the final weekend of the Sun Devils' regular season.
This past weekend was a bit of a tough one for ASU as they took 2 close losses, but here to talk about that we have Rob Werner. Rob, I'm just going to jump straight into it. What really contributed to those 2 losses?
Well, I mean, ASU lost 2 close games, 2 road games that were quad 1 losses. I don't think we learned a ton about ASU through these 2 games, other than the fact that they've been playing a lot of close games lately. Before this weekend, ASU had won 7 consecutive games and 9 of their past 10. A lot of those games were decided under 6 points. ASU, by metric, is one of the top 15 luckiest teams in the nation, and a lot of that, I think, is because they're winning all these close games. You expect to lose some of these, so I wasn't terribly surprised to see ASU struggle a little bit down the stretch in a hostile road environment.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly surprising to see this happen, but it's not exactly what I'm sure Sun Devil fans hoped. But these next 2, they are going to have a chance to turn that around. So, Rob, what do you expect in these last 2 games of the regular season?
Well, these are 2 very winnable games for ASU, really. I think that ASU has a good chance to come out on top of both these teams, but these teams also are no slouch. I mean, they're both 2 of the teams in the lower tier in the Pac-12, but both teams also were tough for ASU the last time around. Washington State beat ASU up in Pullman on a CJ Ellaby game-winning three-pointer, and then ASU barely beat Washington. These are two winnable games, but I expect them to be a little bit closer than most fans expect, and it's really important ASU can get at least one win, hopefully two for the fans, so that they can rest easy and get a bye in the first round of the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah, these games are going to be important for the Pac-12 tournament, but I mean, it's also going to be important for the NCAA tournament. Now, ASU just had that 7-game win streak snapped. How did that affect their NCAA tournament hopes?
Well, again, as I said, they were quad 1 losses to 2 teams on the road. I don't think those are going to be terribly impactful in looking at ASU's resume when it's all said and done, but I also think that ASU needs to win 2 out of their next 3 games. I think that if they could sweep these Washington schools, I think they have it pretty much in the bag, but I think if they lose one of these next 2 games, I think they need a first-round win in Vegas to secure their 3rd consecutive tournament appearance.
Yeah, these next couple weeks are going to be very important for the NCAA tournament hopes. Obviously, there are 2 upcoming games and then the Pac-12 tournament. We will see how the rest of those come out over the next couple of weeks.
It's officially March, which can only mean one thing: March Madness. Despite the loss to Stanford in the regular season finale on Sunday, things aren't over for the Arizona State Sun Devils women's basketball team as they head to Las Vegas for the Pac-12 tournament. The last time the Sun Devils won the tournament was in 2002, and since then they've only made it back to the championship round once, which was in 2007. ASU is going into the tournament as the 5th seed and will face the California Golden Bears in the first round this afternoon, a team they defeated by 23 points almost 1 week ago in Tempe. This will only be the 2nd time the teams meet on the court, something head coach Charlie Turner-Thorne sees as an advantage. In their previous matchup against Cal, the Sun Devils had 9 turnovers in the first quarter, which allowed the Golden Bears to come up with points and keep things close. She wants them to be better at a press defense and expects her team to come off to a hotter start, but acknowledge how good of a program Cal is. She knows ASU will make the adjustments, but so will Charmin's Swiss squad. The Sun Devils will also have to move things around to accommodate the loss of senior guard Kiara Russell after she went down with a knee injury in Sunday's game. Turner-Thorne got emotional post-game saying it didn't look good, but there is a small chance she could see the court this weekend after it was confirmed that Russell only had a bone bruise and is currently day-to-day. If the Sun Devils are able to adapt to this missing component and defeat Cal, they could face Arizona Friday morning in the quarterfinal round, a team they've lost to twice already this season. Turner-Thorne is confident her team will make it to the NCAA tournament for the 6th year in a row, but the first step to getting there comes this weekend. And this is the Pac-12, where anything can happen.
It is absolutely crazy how anything can happen in this Pac-12. It doesn't matter the sport, it doesn't matter the men's or the women's team, just anything can happen, and we're going to see that this upcoming week.
Yeah, something that could happen as early as the 2nd round. At U of A, they have that first round bye as they're the number 4 seed, and if ASU defeats Cal at this afternoon, they may very well have a Territorial Cup matchup on their hands in the 2nd round of the tournament.
That is something that I am going to have to tune into, but we do thank you for tuning in. For all of us at the house, Zach Keenan, Jackson Zuber, closing out on the House Hardcourt.